Hello lovelies, and welcome back to the MIKO Suit Supplies YouTube channel. For today's Tip Tuesday, you're going to learn how to get a nice and even channel at the bottom of your basic triangle bikini top pattern. You may have noticed that most, if not all, basic triangle patterns have this curved edge at the bottom. But many makers, myself included, have struggled with getting an even and puckerless, wrinkle-free channel. But don't be discouraged, you got this. So click the little like button and be sure to subscribe, and I'll show you some easy steps to take that can get that even channel. First, let's go over recommended tools. A lot of pins, stretch sewing needles, and I highly recommend using a walking foot. A walking foot allows layers of fabric to evenly feed through the machine. An even feed through the final top stitching step will prevent the channel from shifting and puckering as it's sewn. But if you don't have a walking foot, don't worry about it. You can just overpin the channel, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, but you can definitely achieve a puckerless, wrinkle-free channel without a walking foot. Secondly, the reason why this channel making step can be difficult is because folding up circular hems in general have been difficult since the beginning of time, and because the outermost arc length is longer than the arc length of the line that you're folding to. So it's not like folding a piece of paper in half where your starting edge is the same length as the ending edge. Ultimately, we want to make the length of the outermost edge match as closely to the length of the line that you're folding to by shortening that edge. So let's get started. This tutorial is going to be limited to getting that clean channel, so I'm starting with a basic triangle bikini top that has already been constructed to 99% completion. First, let's make the outermost arc length shorter. I do this by sewing a basting stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. A basting stitch is just a straight stitch set to the longest length possible on your sewing machine, or you can hand sew it in, but make sure to leave long thread tails. Then take one side and start pulling the bobbin thread while pushing the fabric toward the other end. In my case, the bobbin thread is on the bottom. You'll see that your curved edge will start scrunching. So you don't need to scrunch it a lot, and we'll also refine it as we start pinning. Just scrunch it enough so that you can approximately match the outer edge's length with the length of the line that you're folding to. Now we're going to start pinning. Pin the middle first, and use your little ruler or what are these things called? Sewing gauge, to make sure that you're folding up the correct amount that your pattern calls for. So on my pattern, I drafted a 1/2 inch fold. Pin the sides, doing the same thing. Then pin the middle of each of the pins. At this point, you can start evening out the scrunching from the basting stitch and also smooth out the right side so that no gathers or wrinkles are visible. Then you can continue to pin and measure in the middle of all the pins. I don't pin much more than this, but feel free to pin away, especially if you don't have a walking foot. Definitely overpin, and have at most a 1/4 inch gap between each pin. Lastly, sew down the channel with a basic straight stitch and a walking foot. I sew down the channel by top stitching the finished side. It helps me make sure that unwanted puckers and wrinkles don't form on the side that I want visible, but it's okay to sew down some of the scrunched wrinkles on the back side. It's only inevitable that that's going to happen. Because my fold is 1/2 inch in width, I'm sewing down the channel using a 3/8 of an inch edge allowance. Now, if you don't have a walking foot, I want you to go through this step very slowly. And that's when your overpinning really comes into play. All those pins help prevent the channel from shifting and puckering and moving as you feed your bikini top through the machine. So just take your time with it, and if you start seeing a wrinkle form, just smooth it out very carefully and keep on going. That's it! The last thing to do is to string your straps through your perfectly formed channels. And let me know how you did. If these tips make sense, let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to the MIKO Suit Supplies YouTube channel for more tips and tricks on Tip Tuesday. Bye!